सर्वेभ्यो नमस्कारः। वयं सौन्दर्यलहर्याः द्वितीयं भागं यत् वर्णनायुक्तं भवति तस्य भागस्य चर्चाम् अनुवर्तयामः। अस्माभिः सह प्रियभ्राता वर्तते राघवेन्द्रः, यः देवी उपासकः अपि च तन्त्रज्ञः अस्ति। सः अस्मान् उद्दिश्य किञ्चित् किञ्चित् मध्ये मध्ये अमृतपानीयमिव अमृतवचनानि सिञ्चति इति प्रार्थयामि। Astu, let's start with the 42nd shloka today. We have with us Mr. Raghavendra, who is a Devi Upasaka, and he has lots of wonderful insights about Devi and especially so Soundarya Lahari too. So looking forward to him sprinkling generously all his insights upon us. We'll start. गतैर्माणिक्यत्वं गगनमणिभिः सान्द्रघटितं किरीटं ते हैमं हिमगिरिसुते कीर्तयति यः स नीडे यच्छायाच्छुरणशबलं चन्द्रशकलं धनुःशौनासीरं किमिति न निबध्नाति धिषणाम् गतैर्माणिक्यत्वं गगनमणिभिः सान्द्रघटितं किरीटं ते हैमं हिमगिरिसुते कीर्तयति यः स नीडे यच्छायाच्छुरणशबलं चन्द्रशकलं धनुःशौनासीरं किमिति न निबध्नाति धिषणाम्. So far we have seen all the tattvas in which the abstract concepts by which Devi manifests, first as the Parabrahma, then as the Shakti, as the dynamism of Parabrahma, and then we have seen her as a Devata herself, as a Devata, as in an actual goddess, an Ishwari. And then we have seen her love and Shringara for Shiva, the divine dance between the masculine and the feminine. And moving further, we have also seen and visualized Devi in her microcosmic form as the Kundalini Shakti as well. That is her residence through in the chakras. After all of that, we now take on a different tone. In fact, Adi Shankaracharya takes on a different tone of that of both Vatsalya Bhava as well as of that of a Kavi. So there is a Kavya Rasa which flows right from 42 up to, let's say, 91, 92. There is almost 50 verses are all about the description vividly, exquisitely about each and every anga of Devi. And this is not out of any vulgarity, but a mere tool for us all to visualize and therefore also meditate upon the Saguna Brahma form, which is Devi in this case. So it is the entire purpose of all these 50 verses. Can you just imagine 50 solid verses taking us, immersing our mind in poetic bliss of trying to imagine and compare every single organ. He goes on to describe as nuanced details as that of her nose ring as well. So he has a very keen eye for detail. And again, the purpose here is not to bore us, and at least I really am not that of a person who likes Sahitya much. But this especially is quite appreciable. And more so for people who are already having a bent of literature and they have an inclination towards poetry. It's going to be really wonderful and entertaining for them as well. So would you like to give us any insights of yours, Raghavendra? Okay, sure, sure. Astu. The first verse, now the approach here is Keshadi Padanta. That is, he begins from top to bottom. The approach here is top to bottom. Uh, First describing her kirita, then her forehead, eyes, cheeks, earrings, then nose ring, the neck, her breasts, the navel, her chest, her arms, waist, hips, legs, thighs, knees, and then finally her feet. So he goes on from organ by organ, head to tail. So now I would like to just pull up a picture of Lalita Devi, Tripura Sundari. I mean, though, because we have called her the Tripura Sundari, he has to do justice to this by at least trying to describe some Soundarya of her form, is it not? So, herein we have a nice picture. I don't know if this will be zoomable. Let's just check it out. Anyhow, by the time it loads, okay, it did load. So the first description is of her Kirita. गतैर्माणिक्यत्वं गगनमणिभिः सान्द्रघटितं किरीटं ते हैमं हिमगिरिसुते कीर्तयति यः. यः, he or she who praises you, O Himagiri Suta, O daughter of the Himagiri of the snow-clad mountains, your kirita, your crown, which is haimam, which is made of hema. Hema is gold. So it's a pun. It's actually a word play here. Hima can also mean snow. Hema can mean gold. But haimam is that which is made up of either snow or that of gold. So that's the word play he makes here. Haimam, golden, kiritam, which is Sandra Ghatitam. It is embedded, it is embellished by very densely by Gagana Manibhihi, by all the nakshatras themselves. And the nakshatras themselves have become manikyatvam. They have attained the form of jewels, of gems, and they have come and sat on your kirita. Nakshatrani Rupam Ashvinau Vyatam. So says the Purusha Suktam as well, wherein the cosmic form of the Ishvara or the Ishwari in this case, the Kirita itself is adorned by the Nakshatras. Sa Nide, and he or she who meditates upon your Kirita, what happens to him or her? Saha Nideyat Nide Yat Chaya Churana Shabalam Chandra Shakalam Dhanuhu Shaunaseeram Kim iti Dishanam na nibadhnati. So he or she, the meditator, will not be able to fix their mind. Dishanam na nibadhnati. They will not be able to bring their mind to a stable phase of what? Of being able to convince themselves or come to a firm conviction. Dhishana can also mean a conviction. They are not able to come to a conclusion of kimiti, what this exact forehead of yours is, because it is comparable to nida. Nida is a nest. Nide yat chaya churana shabalam. If they are just wondering if the Chandra Shakalam, that is the crescent moon here that you have, if that, just a minute, if that has been crafted on your nida, that is your nest like hair, if that crescent half of the moon, Chanide yat chaya churana shabalam chandra shakalam dhanuhu. And is that whiteness which is mixing along with the goldenness from your kirita, it's mixing together to give the appearance of a shaunasiram dhanuhu. Whether it is a bow, it's appearing as though it is a bow. When he is kind of being very poetic here. So it's giving an appearance, a glow of it being a bow, or of a shauna sira, or of an axe. So if you have seen an axe, there is this which Parashurama wields is called a shauna sira. So that crescent moon, which is blending in its white light along with the golden hue of your crown, is giving the appearance of either it being a bow or of it being an axe. And so this meditator is not able to fixate his mind on whether it is an axe or if it is to be meditated as a bow. There is a hidden meaning to this. What that is the moon blending in with the gold is actually a metaphor of the Ida, because Ida is represented by the moon, the white nadi, blending with the Pingala, which is the golden nadi. So when that happens at your forehead, whether it is a bow or an axe, if the mind is not setting here, means the mind is now in such a state of samadhi that it cannot differentiate between even non-living objects. This is an interpretation which I personally like. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you can give me your own interpretations too. That Samaloštashma Kanchanaha Tulya Priya Priyo Dhiraha is how even Bhagavad Gita puts it. A person of such a steady intellect will not be able to differentiate between sand, gravel, and even mud. So, Sama Loshta Ashma Kanchana, or even gold. Similarly, this person will not be able to differentiate between a bow or an axe, meaning he or she will not be able to differentiate at that level of samadhi where your energy has peaked at your crown, quite literally your crown. And the moon there again represents the Chandrama Manaso Jataha, the Manas, which is the Ajna Chakra. The light is so blinding, the light of wisdom, the light of Jnana is so blinding that all such small differences between even inanimate objects, even non-living objects, just is getting completely erased. You feel free to give me your insights to Mr. Raghavendra.
Morning. I don't know. All of a sudden, I was listening to the Kshatra Sukta.
Okay.
So you're starting the same. So I know I'm getting to know you.
Oh, fantastic.
So Nakshatra Mandala, Rashi Mandala, Ekatra Rupini,
Mm,
the entire cosmos blended as a studied jewels to our crown
mm,
has something deeper than just a symbolifying metaphor.
mm.
I have no words, no what to say on that.
So yeah, what deeper meaning is it conveying though? I would like to hear it from you.
What I feel is the quantification of space
Mm,
on a two-dimensional world is just length and breadth. But when it comes to the stars, this galaxy is beyond
mm.
is beyond reach. So, as you say, when the Tida balance happens, when it shoots up the crown, it is beyond. It is beyond this world. It is what? Beyond this world, It is to that extraterrestrial world, that is the stars, the galaxies. It is the entire cosmos.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, it's really a very plausible, very stunning interpretation. Yeah, अस्तु सम्यक्. धुनोतु ध्वान्तं न स्तुलितगलितेन्दीवरवनम् घनस्निग्धश्लक्ष्णं चिकुरनिकुरुम्बं तव शिवे यदीयं सौरभ्यं सहजमुपलब्धुं सुमनसो वसन्त्यस्मिन् मन्ये वलमथनवाटी विटपिना धुनोतु ध्वान्तं न स्तुलितगलितेन्दीवरवनम् घनस्निग्धश्लक्ष्णं चिकुरनिकुरुम्बं तव शिवे यदीयं सौरभ्यं सहजमुपलब्धुं सुमनसो वसन्त्यस्मिन् मन्ये बलमथनवाटी विटपिना नः अस्माकं our ध्वान्तं धुनोतु. May our ignorance be removed, may it be dispelled. Dhunotu tulita dalite dalita indivaravanam ghana snigdha shlakshnam chikura nikurumbam he tava he shive tava chikura nikurumbam यदीयं सौरभ्यं सहजम् उपलब् सुमनसः उपलब्धुम् अस्मिन् बलमथनवाटी विटपिनां सुमनसः वसन्ति इति अहं मन्ये. So I think, I imagine, I conjecture that, I speculate that all the Sumanasaha, all the Devatas, Indra, Vayu, Agni, Brahma, Rudra, all these Devatas, they have come to reside, Vasanti, where in your hairs, in your hair locks, in your plaits, Asmin Vasanti. Why? Because here the scent, which is Saurabhya, is scent, the fragrance of all the flowers, and I mean your natural fragrance, which is emitting the pheromones which are emitted from your hair, which is Chikura Nikurumba. Nikurumba is bunch or a plate. Chikura is her curly hair. So that Chikura Nikurumba is emitting a fragrance which is Sahaja, which is her natural pheromones. And to even have a scent and whiff of such fragrance, they leave Balamathana Vati Vitapinam. They leave the heavenly gardens. Vati is garden, and even Vitapi is Aranya. They are ready to forsake even heavenly gardens and heavenly forests. And how do you know it is heavenly? Because Balamathana is Indra. Balamathana is the name for, because he destroyed, he quelled the pride of Balasura. He's called Balamathana. So his garden and his forest, which are said to be the most fragrant ever, all the Sumanasas are going for a better place. They're leaving that shop, go to a better, more discount getting shop, which is your hair. So all of the devatas have come and resided in your hair to get a whiff of this. And uh, what is the nature of the hair there? Ghana, it is dense. Snigdha, you have slightly oiled it. And Shlakshna, it's very smooth. It's not really rough. Unlike Kali, who in stark contrast will not even plait her hair. She leaves it uh, disheveled to show her complete mastery over uh, all rebellions and rebellious nature. Whereas she, Tripura Sundari, is on the other extreme. She has neatly tied, oiled her hair, perhaps put some moisturizer and conditioners, etc. Of course, all of that is natural. Her own body is creating it. And it looks as though it is Tulita Dalita Indi Varavanam. It looks as though it is Indivara. Indivara is again lily. Vana is a garden. So it's comparable. Tulita. It is comparable to uh, a garden of lilies, which is Dalita. Dalita here means those which have shut their buds, which are like buds. They have not blossomed yet. So young budding lilies at night. Well, of course, the poetic imagination here is that lilies only bloom at night. So it's like a garden, a collection, a bunch of all lilies tied together, yet to blossom, which is comparable to your hair. And what should that hair do? Because it is black in color, it symbolizes tamas. So may that, which is the super tamas, kill our tamas. May it shrug off our ignorance, just as if you've seen the women after having taken an oil bath, they even in all these Bollywood dramatic scenes, the woman always splashes her hair around, and all the water which has stuck there will be exuded. So similarly, may she do that, and may all the dhvanta, may all our ignorance and darkness from our lives be utterly dispelled and shattered. This is the poetic literal meaning of the words. Let's hear what uh, our good friend here has to take on this verse.
Sudarshan ji, you continue. In between, if I get, I will only raise my hand. Okay.
Sure.
In my sense. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's just look at the picture now. So this, the plaited hair, the braided hair. Of course, here the picture shows she's already wearing flowers as ornaments, but of course here it says Sahaja. The natural fragrance from her hair itself is so captivating enough for the to entice the gods out of the heavens and invite them to her Kesha Rashi. Thus, meaning her Kesha Rashis have enough space to accommodate all the devatas themselves. So she has such a large cosmic form. तनोतु क्षेमं नस्तव वदन सौन्दर्यलहरी परिवाह स्रोतस् सरणिरिव सीमन्तसरणिः वहन्ती सिन्दूरं प्रबलकबरी भारतिमिरद्विषां वृन्दैर्बन्दीकृतमिव नवीनार्ककिरणम् तनोतु क्षेमन्नस्तव वदन सौन्दर्यलहरी परिवाह स्रोतस् सरणिरिव सीमन्तसरणिः वहन्ती सिन्दूरं प्रबलकबरी भारतिमिरद्विषां वृन्दैर्बन्दीकृतमिव नवीनार्ककिरणम् Asmakam Kshemam Tanotu. What now the description after her Chikura Nikurumba is that of her the Simanta Sarani, the forehead partition of the plates. Okay, let's just see. Simanta Sarani. I'm hoping it doesn't show a pregnant woman because in Kannada Simanta is also used for that. Okay, let's see what it means. Woman's forehead. Woman's forehead. Not exactly forehead, but hair partition. What's it called though?
Vaitale.
Baitale. Yeah, so this part. Let's see if an Indian woman is wearing a sindura. Operation Sindur. This part, exactly. So Who is this lady here? So this part is called the Simanta, which is adorned with the vermilion as a symbol of Saubhagya, of Saumangalya, of looking auspicious. Uh, so this is worn by at least Indian women. I've heard it is similar in many other traditions too. Some Indian pre-Islamic and pre-Christian traditions too, at least in the native cultures. So this is Semanta Sarani, which has is being described as Pari Vadana Soundarya Lahari Parivaha Srotaha Saranihi. It's like a sarani, it's like a tributary which is flowing into the Arunatva, into the, because your face is also Aruna, the face is also a large pool, a lake of orangeness. So this looks like a tributary coming from afar and merging into the lake, feeding into the lake, Parivaha, and enhancing what? Your Soundarya Lahari. It has waves of Soundarya. It's emitting waves of Soundarya. It's vibing Soundarya. And then Sinduram Vahanti. It's carrying Sindura. And how does it look? Prabala Kabari Bhara Timirad Vrindaihi Bandikritam Iva Navina Arka Kiranam. So the elaborate simile here is Navina Arka Kiranam. So there is the sun which is just rising. Okay. So there is the sun which is just rising. So that is like this sun here, which is first emitting its first rays of light. And what has happened is Timira Dvisham, those who are the enemies of night, which are basically devatas, because they hate the darkness, they have Dvisham Vrindaihi, by groups and groups of such devatas. Prabala Kabari Bhara. Kabari is the plates. These are called plates. So this is called Kabari Bhara. Because of the heaviness of so much mass of hair that she has pulled out and tied it very tightly. So because of that bhara and that stress, it looks as though the very first kiranas of the sun, which are rising which is rising in the horizon, which is trying to escape out from the sun, which is her forehead, it is getting locked, bandi kritam, it's getting frozen at that very place because of the heaviness and tightness of her bands, of the dark bands, which is comparable to the devatas themselves who are trying to hold the sunrise in its place, because they are trying to part the night sky into two. So let's just dial back and see what happens. So the metaphor is that there is darkness, there is let's say at just 3 p.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., there's such pitch darkness in the sky. And then the sun is trying to rise and penetrate through the sky. So what they are doing is the devatas who are Timira Dvisha. Timira is darkness, Dvisha is those who don't like darkness, these devatas. Now, because they want to help the sun also penetrate deeper and deeper and allow light to come up, they're trying to pull out the curtain of darkness to allow the first rising rays of sun to come through. And therefore, it looks as though the very first rays of sun have been held in place because of this tug of war between the groups of devatas who are trying to pull out the night sky. Such an elaborate metaphor. And so he is saying that is exactly how your sindura on the tilaka, the sindura tilaka that you have on your forehead looks. And may that give us what? Naha kshemam tanotu. After dispelling away darkness, dhunotu dhvantam, What is left? We should get something good, right? If you, otherwise it will create a vacuum. If all the bad habits and bad things and negativity has gone out, now it's time for goodness and positivity to come in. So that is kshema. May we be blessed with positivity, like the first rays of hope that the sun brings, which your sindura is bringing to this world, which are through the Sindura anointed Simanta Sarani, which are enhancing the beauty of your face. Do you understand? Tanotu kshemam nastava vadana saundarya lahari parivah srotas saraniriva simanta sarani vahanti sinduram प्रबलकबरी भारतिमिरद्विषां वृन्दैर्बन्दीकृतमिव नवीनार्ककिरणम् अरालैः स्वाभाव्यादलिकलभसश्रीभिरलकैः परीतं ते वक्त्रं परिहसति पङ्केरुहरुचिम् दरस्मेरे यस्मिन् दशनरुचिकिञ्जल्करुचिरे सुगन्धौ माद्यन्ति स्मरदहनचक्षुर्मधुलिहः. Now, then the description comes to her curly hair. Arala. Arala are her curly hairs. Aralaihi swabhavyat, by their very nature, all these curly hairs, Alika Ali Kalabha Sashribihi Alakaihi. So Alaka means here abundant. There's an abundance of curly hair on your like penetrating out from your head into your forehead, which are surrounded by arala, by honeybees, by brahmaras. Alakaihi paritam. Now it is surrounded by the brahmaras. Te vaktram, your face, parihasati panke ruharuchim. It is even surpassing and laughing at the beauty of panke ruha, of lotus. Because it was usually said the lotus flower attracts the most bees, right? So all the bees get attracted to the nectar of uh, panke ruha. Similarly, not similarly, in fact, surpassing such a beauty and such a imagery is your face, which is laughing at the beauty of the, the lotus, because all those curly hairs themselves look like the bees which are surrounding your beautiful vadana, your vaktra, which is also a lotus itself. And dara smere, and your smile, smera, is dara. It's a mild, separated smile. Yasmin, in that, dashana ruchi, all the dashanas, all the white tea that you are showing very mellow, very elegantly, kinjalka ruchire, and it is comparable to a sweet porridge, white color um, ganji in taddivi. So that in Kannada, I don't know what it is called in English. I think it's called porridge, rice porridge. It is like that. Sugandhau madyanti smara dahana chakshuhu madhuliha. Madhuliha is honeybees. They have the eyes, smara, dahana chakshuhu. The uh, eyes of Manmatha themselves are said to be like bees. So his eyes are like bees because of the black, the pigmentation. The iris, which are looking like the head of the honeybee, and the rest of the eye is like is shaped in such a similar manner. You have to just imagine all of this. Smara dahana chakshuhu. And these madhulihaha, all these bees, were a witness, an eyewitness to when their master, who was Manmatha, Smara, who when he got bhasma, when he got dahana, when he was turned to ashes, when he was extinguished completely, these were eyewitnesses to it. So now they have seen such a horrifying sight of having to see their boss getting burnt alive. So to cool themselves off and come out of this trauma, they have come to the Sugandhi. They have come to smelling sweetly and drinking from the porridge like substance of your teeth, Sugandho, and they are Madhyanti, and they have gotten intoxicated by the sweet fragrance emitting from your mouth. Dashana Ruchi, Kinjalka Ruchire, Sugandhau, in that beautifully fragrant parted lips of yours, they are buzzing around, and as though drinking from the nectar of your face, because of which, why do they have to do that? Because they have to wash away the trauma of having witnessed, being an eyewitness to the immolation of their master, which is Smara. This is the literal meaning. So first is her curly hair themselves are like bees, which are surpassing the beauty of lotuses. Secondly, the actual honeybees, who are said to be her servants of Brahmarambika, they are drinking from your face and the sweet fragrance coming from the parted lips and your teeth to wipe off their memories, bad memories of the Smaradahana, of Kamadahana. The one spiritual meaning I could find from this verse is that of course, I understand that we should never try to force fit a spiritual meaning onto everything. At least I personally feel it may or may not add to the value, but it's just good to discuss and do some vimarsha of if this could be a possible interpretation. Anyhow, so I was just thinking that this Maradahana Chakshu is because these Madhuliha, these bees are servants or devotees of the mother. They, having seen their own karmas being completely extinguished by Shiva because of the sadhana of Shiva, now they're left with a vacuum. So they have to drink something good. So the karma has been wiped off. So then what is the source of joy? What is the source of ananda for them? Usually, the human creature or any creature, in fact, will like to seek ananda. If it is not through karmas, if it is not through externalities, it should be internal. So internal here means of Devi herself, of this Chidrupi herself, this Paradevata who is exuding this beauty and this ananda from which the devotees are drinking.
Sudarshanji, it is in Soundarya Lahari itself that Ganesha faces the lotus and he puts his hand to pull it down. It is in the upcoming verse or it is somewhere else. I read some description, I don't remember.
Yeah, it is in the Soundarya Lahari. It comes a little later. Correct.
Okay.
अस्तु अरालैः स्वाभाव्यानलिकलभसश्रीभिरलकैः परीतं ते वक्त्रं परिहसति पङ्के रुहरुचिम् दरस्मेरे यस्मिन् दशनरुचिकिञ्जल्करुचिरे सुगन्धौ माद्यन्ते स्मरदहनचक्षुर्मधुलिहः ललाटं लावण्यद्युतिविमलमाभाति तव यत् द्वितीयं तन्मन्ये मकुटघटितं चन्द्रशकलम् विपर्यासन्न्यासाद् उभयमपि सम्भूय च मिथः सुधालेपस्योतिः परिणमति राका हिमकरः ललाटं लावण्यद्युतिविमलमाभाति तव यत् द्वितीयं तन्मन्ये मकुटघटितं चन्द्रशकलम् विपर्यासन्न्यासाद् उभयमपि सम्भूय च मिथः सुधालेपस्युतिः परिणमतिराका हिमकरः. Next up is the description of her forehead. Lalatam, Lavanya Dyuti, like quartz crystal, Lavanya Dyuti, Vimalam Abhati. It is shining bright white, like a transparent or almost white, crystal clear crystal, crystal clear gem. Tavayat, the forehead that you have, Tat Manye, I think, I speculate that it is Chandrashakalam Dvitiyam Makuta Ghatitam iti. I think that you already have one Chandra on your forehead. I think this is also another second Chandra that you have because it is so white. It is shining equivalent to the moonlight itself, and therefore Viparyasa Nyasat Ubhayam api Sambhuya Mithaha Sudhalepasyutihi Parinamati Raka Himakaraha. So what I'm going to do is, because you like to be worshipped on Purnimas, incidentally today is also one. So what I'm going to do is, perhaps this forehead of yours, which is shining white, bright white, I'm going to join it together with the forehead, the crescent moon on your forehead. Therefore, the forehead, crescent moon, and your forehead itself together make up the entire segment, the two halves of the full moon, Raka Himakaraha. And therefore, it is told that during Purnimas, there is a Sudha Lepa Syutihi on full moons, and especially when there is an union of any kind, there is a mithaha, there is a union, coming together of two halves, sambhuya, of coming together, put together, it will release a syuti, it releases a cascade of Sudha Lepa, of utter joy, of Amrita itself. So your forehead is indirectly praising her forehead to say it's very bright white. And what does this word here mean? Viparyasa nyasat. Viparyasa nyasat means, viparyasa is something which is tilted upward or in a different shape, in a different position. So I'm going to rotate it, nyasa, and put it together. Ubhayam api, I'm going to rotate it together and put it together to make it into a complete whole, a purnam. And because of that purnatva, outsprings the Sudha Lepa, a streak of joy which is coming, exuding, like how the full moon itself sprinkles and sprays this nectar in the night. Parinamati means it becomes full. Parinamati turns into the forehead and the crescent moon together, because they're together, they're turning into another complete full moon in itself. ललाटं लावण्यद्युतिविमलमाभाति तव यत् द्वितीयं तन्मन्ये मकुटघटितं चन्द्रशकलम् विपर्यासन्न्यासाद् उभयमपि सम्भूय च मिथः सुधालेपस्युतिः परिणमतिराका हिमकरः भ्रुवौ भुग्ने किञ्चिद् भुवन भयभङ्गव्यसनिनि त्वदीये नेत्राभ्यां मधुकररुचिभ्यां धृतगुणम् धनुर्मन्ये संयेतरकरगृहीतं रतिपते प्रकोष्ठे मुष्टौ च स्थगयति निगूढान्तरमुमे भ्रुवौ भुग्
Sudarshan,
ah,
just one minute. That 46th verse,
hmm,
see, in the 44th and 45th, 44th, they said that the forehead is like a rising sun.
hmm.
Then it became the lotus. Now it has turned to moon. But how can we? It is a it is a Kavi Baba and it is the Kavi Kalpana. But another thing that adds on was she is Basmareka Kitalan Mastakai Namo Namaha. Forehead. So, what I feel, what I'm, what thought I'm getting is that Basmareka Kitalan Mastakai Namo Namaha, the forehead smeared by the ashes, might give the description of that color of a moon.
Mm,
And another point is even Shiva is the moon, that is the Ashtami Chandra. So both share the same Chandra.
correct.
So when they are in the union, that Amrita Rasa happens.
Ah, okay. Very nice. Yeah. Basmarekankita lasan mastakaya namo nama. Hmm.
It's only in the rare portraits we can see that Basmareka Ankita very properly. To go to that Rajarajeshwari temple, no?
Hmm.
There is one big Tanjore painting. Only there it is very evident.
Is it this?
Or more similar. Yeah, I'll share it. Have a look.
Yeah, please share it on the group. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks somewhat close to that.
Uh, 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 Kamakshi, Kamakshi point.
Okay, please do share it. Shall I proceed ahead?
Yeah.
भ्रुवौ भुग्ने किञ्चित् भुवन भय भङ्गव्यसनिनि त्वदीये नेत्राभ्यां मधुकररुचिभ्यां धृतगुणम् धनुर्मन्ये सौयेतरकरगृहीतं रतिपतेः प्रकोष्ठे मुष्टौ च स्थगयति निगूढान्तरमुमे हे उमे उमा aham manye. I again think, I speculate that bhruvau, your two eyebrows, where is it? These two eyebrows, bhugne, that which is separated in between. So it's not a continuous eyebrow as many people have. Hers is bhugna. It is separated in the middle. Kinchit. It is only separated a little bit in the middle. Bhruvau bhugne kinchit bhuvana bhaya bhanga vyasanini. Hey Ume, you who are the bhuvana bhaya bhanga vyasana. You have an addiction. You have a vyasana. And what is your addiction? It is that you want to destroy, do bhanga of the bhaya of the bhuvana. You want to your addiction is that you always like to shatter bhaya. You always like to shatter the terrors and calamities of the world. And that is your addiction. You're a workaholic. You always like to be engaged in this work alone. And tvadiye netrabhyam madhukara ruchibhyam dhrita gunam. Tvadiye bruvau, your the small area which is separating the two eyebrows, between your eyes, Madhukara Ruchibhyam, which are themselves also like honeybees, because you're, of course, the mother, the Janani of Kama. So Kama gets his eyes by your genes, by your phenotype. So you also have your Kamakshi, you have eyes, you have eyes of honeybees. So between that, what is happening? Dhrita Gunam, your these eyes which are like honeybees are holding something. What are they holding? They are holding Ratipatehe Manmatha's Dhrita Gunam. They are holding up the bow of Manmatha. You see, this is the bow of Manmatha, which are your eyebrows, and it is told to be strung by a line of bees. So all the bees of actual Manmatha's eyebrow, they are very similar to how your eyes and the eyebrow itself looks. And Savya Itara, that is using his left hand, Savya Tara Kara with his left hand, Grihitam Dhritagunam Mushtau Prakoshte cha Sthagayati Nigudhantaram. So this little place which is Nigudha, which is concealed, which is not known to most people, Nigudha Antaram. Antara is space. This concealed space between your eyebrows is where, so of course, if the rest of the bow is black in color, even this part should have been black, correct? So he is giving another example. I mean, he's giving an elaborate logic here, and he says, no, it is not black because at this position you hold the bow, right? You hold it with your left hand. So because he is clasping the bow with his left hand, this part of the bow is not visible, right? And so the eyes, which are your honeybees, are visible, but this part where he holds it with his mushti is concealed. Let's look at the picture now and see if it makes sense. So you should imagine that there is the hand of Manmatha here holding the two parts of the bow and arrow, and then her eyes are the strings of the bow. So basically, this is a description of her akshi, her eyes. Of course, again, a few more uh, stanzas deeply describe her eyes once again. Here is a combination of her brows, the ajna, because that is the place which is nigudha, that place where outwardly, externally, there is nothing, but internally, there is the hand of Manmatha. That is the place where Manasaha Retha Kamastadagre Samavartatadhi Manaso Retah Prathamam Yadasit. So the place of the Ajna, which is incidentally also having only two petals, is the place where Kama, the seed of Kama, is first born. So Kama gets all his powers by his bow, which he holds. So that this simile may be suggesting a deeper tattva of yogic discipline here too. So this Nigudha Antaram, which is claspable only by the mushti of Kama. When you hold Kama like in the mushti, like you have brought complete control over Kama. Shrotriyasya cha akama hatasya, one who cannot be harmed by Kama, he is or she is said to have the most eligibility to Brahmananda, as the Upanishad, the Taittiriya Upanishad also says. And so, what is the point of him describing Devi as Bhuvana Bhaya Bhanga Vyasanini? Here it could mean that of people whose Ajna Chakra has been activated, all fears are removed. Bhuvana Bhaya. Here, Bhuvana Bhaya can mean two things. It is either the fears of the world or the fears in the world. So, first, the fears in the world are removed. That is, let's say the fear of money, fear of losing someone, fear of being alone, fear of, let's say, death and sickness, fear of uncertainty, all of that, which are the fears in the world, are removed. But then, after the yogi attains samadhi, then he will start fearing, or she will start fearing coming back into the world. So, that could be another fear thereof. So, that is the bhuvana bhaya, and even that fear is dispelled by this position of Devi in the Ajna. भ्रुवौ भुग्ने किञ्चित् भुवन भय भङ्ग व्यसनिनि त्वदीये नेत्राभ्यां मधुकर रुचिभ्यां धृतगुणम् धनुर्मन्ये सव्येतरकरगृहीतं रतिपतेः प्रकोष्ठे मुष्टौ च स्थगयति निगूढान्तरमुमे अहः सूते सौर्यं तव नयनमर्कात्मकतया त्रियामां वामन्ते सृजति रजनीनायकतया तृतीया ते दृष्टिर्दरदलितहेमाम्बुजरुचिः समाधत्ते सन्ध्यां दिवसनिशयोरन्तरचरी अहः सूते तव नयनम तव सव्यम नयनम अर्कात्मकतया your right eye, it has the tattva of arka, of surya in it, so it will sute, it creates morning. Ahaha sute savyam tava nayanam arkatmakataya vamam te, your left eye will create triyama, which is darkness or night. So your left eye will create night, your right eye creates morning or day, because it is of the tattva of Chandra. This is Chandra and this is Surya. Rajani Nayaka is Chandra. Rajani Nayakataya. Tritiyate Drishtihi. And there is not just two, but you have three eyes. Tritiyate Drishtihi. Dara Dalita Hema Ambuja Ruchihi. Just as a small, mildly parted, mildly blossomed lotus, Ambuja, just as that, Dara Dalita, just a little partitioned, a little parted, Hema, um a golden lotus, Hema Ambuja Ruchi, Samadhatte Sandhyam Divasa Nishayor Antaracharim. And then because this third eye of yours, which looks like uh, a half partly bloomed petal bud of lotus, what is it doing? The drishti which comes from that, because it is mildly parted, because she doesn't open her third eye completely like she does the other two, it is mildly parted. So the third eye of hers is creating samadhatte, it's creating sandhyam, it is creating the dawn and dusk. Why? Because dawn and dusk comes where? Divasa nishayoh antarachari. Because Sandhya, that is morning and evening, comes between day and night, right? So it comes at two parts. One when night meets day and one when day meets night. Similarly, because her third eye is between the left and the right eye, which is representing Surya and Chandra, which represents darkness and light, this eye, therefore, is in charge of creating, taking charge over the Sandhya Kala itself. Samadhatte sandhyam divasa nishayor antarachari. Once again, it's a clear reference to the nadis, the Ida and the Pingala, the Sushumna being the middlemost, because it antarachari, it travels between, in and through and between the two nadis. It 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 causes samadhatte, it causes to go up, it causes the mind to go into samadhi. Samadhatte sandhyam is why the dawn and dusk times are said to be very pristine and auspicious for spiritual sadhana, where the energies of masculine and feminine are naturally balanced, spontaneously balanced. So at that very time, one must do sandhya, samyak dhyanam iti sandhya. One must meditate well, and chances of entering samadhi, or at least for us, or at least layman like me, entering a more serene, peaceful state as compared to a mundane life would be more possible. And the person who should meditate must be with half closed eyes, just as it is described here. Dara Dalita Hema Ambuja Ruchihi. Their drishti, the vision should be just as Shiva is, and just as her Tritiya Netra is, which is Dara Dalita, which means there must be moderation. One must not sleep like the Chandra. One must not be completely aware, totally aware and external like the Surya. But there must be certain moderation between tamas and rajas. Chandra represents tamas, darkness, whereas Surya represents rajas, activity. So one must be of the nature of sattva to be able to achieve samadhi, equanimity. Ahasute savyam tava nayanamarkatmakataya त्रियामां वामन्ते सृजति रजनीनायकतया तृतीया ते दृष्टिर्दरदलितहेमाम्बुजरुचिः समाधत्ते सन्ध्यां दिवसनिशयोरन्तरचरी विशाला कल्याणी स्फुटरुचिरयोध्या कुवलयैः कृपाधारा धारा किमपि मधुरा भोगवतिका अवन्ती दृष्टिस्ते बहुनगरविस्तारविजया ध्रुवं तत्तन्नाम व्यवहरणयोग्या विजयते. Here it's a Shlesha Alankara. There is a pun on the words Vishala, Kalyani, Ayodhya, Kripa, Dhara, Madhura, Vatika, Avanti, Vijaya, and so on. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 cities. Bahu Nagara. So there are 9 cities being named here. Vishala, Kalyani, Ayodhya, Kripa, Dhara, Madhura, Vatika, Avanti, Vijaya. These 9 cities, Navanagari as it is called, the poet here is describing how these cities came to be named. He is saying, the poet, or people who wanted to name, these administrators who wanted to name these places, they just saw your face and started describing how your drishtis are. So, Vishala, your drishti, te drishtihi, your eyes, the way you move your eyes and the way you look at with your eyes, they are Vishala, they are large, they are Kalyani, they are auspicious. See, even Kali's eyes are very wide and large, but they are not auspicious. But here she is looking very peacefully, Kalyani, as though she means well. Of course, Kali also means well, but the Ugrata is overshadowing her motherliness. Here, Kalyani Sphuta Ruchihi, and it is Sphuta Ruchihi. It is very clear. Her iris, as it is called, right? It's Sphuta, that white, transparent hole in the iris is being able to be observed. Sphuta Ruchihi and Kuvalayaihi Ayodhya, and her eyes are no match. Ayodhya, they are no match even for lilies and lotuses. Kuvalayaihi. Then Kripa Dhara, and they are exuding lots of compassion, streams and streams of compassion. Kripa Dhara Dhara. Kimapi Madhura. Somehow it is also that compassion is also sweet. Madhura Bhogavatika, and it is also signaling a lot of desire for Bhoga, or it could also it's signaling that she is the queen. Therefore, she has a lot of Bhoga Vastu with her. Bhoga Vastu. So, just as a person who is very successful, just yesterday, maybe he or she won the lottery. So, their eyes will have a certain sparkle about them. That they are now possessing the ability to buy whatever Audi, Benz, whatever richest car, luxury cars, a big home, a palace, uh, good ornaments, take the wife or the husband on a trip. So there is a lot of sparkle and hope in the eyes, which comes using the ability to buy things, or the ability to be able to enjoy things. That is Bhogavatika. So she has that. Avanti, and then it is also at times exuding Avanti. Avanti means Vatsalya, because Avana means to protect, to nurture. So Avanti is that which is having the vision, the bhava to protect. Avanti drishtiste bahu nagara vistara vijaya, and such drishti has spread across all cities, across the world. Bahu nagara vistara vijaya. It can also mean nagara, can also mean mountains. Your compassion has spread as large mountains. It has won over all the kingdoms which are present and landmarked by all the different mountains of the world. And Dhruvam, I surely know that, certainly know that tat nama vyavaharana yogya vijayate. And I am completely sure and certain that these administrators, they just had a look at your different glances, and depending on what bhava your eyes showed at that point to them, they started naming those very cities which has been conquered by your drishti with that name. So Vishala, Kalyani, Ayodhya, Kripa, Dhara, Mathura, which is which is coming from the word Madhura, Bhogavatika, Vatika, and then Avanti and Vijaya. विशाला कल्याणी स्फुटरुचिरयोध्या कुवलयैः कृपाधारा धारा किमपि मधुरा भोगवतिका अवन्ती दृष्टिस्ते बहुनगर विस्तार विजया ध्रुवं तत्तन्नाम व्यवहरण योग्या विजयते.
Sadharasi.
We can just check out the name of those cities. Let's just see. Old Indian cities. Vishala. Okay. There may be.
Vaishali iti va?
Vaishali, exactly. Kutra asti?
वैशाली इति अहं कुत्रापि श्रुतवान् वैशाली राज्यं वा देशं न पट्टणं
तत्र वैशाली today's present maybe Kashi
बिहार समीपे बिहार मध्ये एव
आम् वैशाली अवंती इति दृष्टम् अवंती अवंती विजया विजयनगरं तत्तु अस्ति एव विजया इति विजयनगरम्
विजयति विजयनगरमेव वा
हम्म
अन्यदस्ति चेत् अन्यदस्ति स्यात् अन्यत् स्यात् एकवारं पश्यतु
एवं वा
किमर्थम् इत्युक्ते विजया इति बहु साधारणतया नामानि ददाति जनाः
विजय
विजयनगरमपि अन्यत् अपि च भवितुं शक्नोति
विजय विशाला कल्याणी कल्याणी नगरं कुत्र कल्याणी 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 इज दिल्ली कल्याणी
न दिल्ली तु तत्
इंद्रप्रस्थं वा
इन्द्रप्रस्थम् आमाम्
अयोध्या
Kalyanapuri is Bangalore.
Kalyanapuri is Bangalore. Yeah, exactly. See, Vijayanagara has come, Kalyananagar has come. Yeah. So there is Ayodhya, we saw Vaishali, Vishala, Kalyani, Kalyani, maybe let's put it now as Bangalore itself. Kalyani, Sphuta Ruchihi, Ayodhya, Kuvalayaihi, Kripa, where is Kripa? Is it Kuru? I don't know. Kripa Dhara Nagaram tu Shrutam Kutrachit. Dhara Nagaram. Is it in Andhra Pradesh? Ujjain,
Dhara Nagari.
Dhara Nagari. Correct, correct. Ujjain. Kripa Dhara Dhara. Kimapi Mathura, Mathura Atra. Mathura Bhoga Vatika. Vatika. Bhojpuri. Bhoga Vatika is Bhojapuri. Where is a Bhojapuri? There is also a Nritya. Ah.
अय्यो भोजपुरी तदेव वा
नृत्यस्य शैली अपि अस्ति खलु भोजस्य पुरी
भोजपुरी भाषा अस्ति
भोजपुरी न कुत्र कैपिटल कुत्र भवति तत्
बिहार मध्ये एव भवति ते तत्र वदन्ति भोजपुरी
भोज भोग्यनगर oh if it is Bhagyanagar it would have been Hyderabad Bhogya
इदानीं बिहार राष्ट्रतः बहु उत्तमजनाः जन्मं स्वीकृतवन्तः बुद्धः अपि तत्र एव चाणक्यः तत्र एव
Bhogavatika Avanti we saw Avanti right Avanti where was Avanti somewhere here Ujjain samipam va Avanti बहुनगर विस्तार विजय ध्रुवं तत्तन्नाम व्यवहरण योग्या विजयते अस्तु सुष्ठु इदं सुष्ठु अयं श्लोकः we can learn a lot of geography also with it अस्तु अनुवर्तते वा भवान् विशाला कल्याणी गास्यति किम् अस्तु विशाला कल्याणी स्फुटरुचिरयोध्या कुवलयैः कृपाधारा धारा किमपि मधुरा भोगवतिका अवन्ती दृष्टिस्ते बहुनगर विस्तार विजया ध्रुवं तत्तन्नाम व्यवहरण योग्या विजयते कवीनां सन्दर्भस्तबकमकरन्दैकरसिकम् कटाक्षौ व्याक्षेपभ्रमरकलभौ कर्णयुगलम् अमुञ्चन्तौ दृष्ट्वा तव नवरसास्वादतरलौ असूया संसर्गादलिकनयनं किञ्चिदरुणम् So here, Kavinam Sandarbhastabaka Makaranda Eka Rasikam Kataksha Vyakshepa Brahmara Kalabhau Karna Yugalam Amuncantau Drishtva Tava Navarasa Swada Tarau Asuya Samsargad Alika Nayanam Kinchidarunam. Now, he is describing how and why the middle eye of Devi is a little reddish in color. Why is it a little red? Because it isn't visible here, but it's told to be a little red as compared to the other two eyes. One is told Madhagurnita Raktakshi because she has gotten intoxicated upon Ananda that her eye has turned red colored. The other poetic justification he's giving is it has become red, kinchit arunam, because your alika ayanam, that is your single eye, which is the third eye, has become a little red because of asuya samsargat. It is told that asuya is represented by red color, and a person who has asuya, who is jealous, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಕಿಚ್ಚು ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ. There is the fire of jealousy, the fire of envy, and we also say jaundice. Jealous and jaundice are quite related to each other. So asuya is envy. It is told, at least in the Samskrita Sahitya, to impart a reddish hue among the other emotions. So it is imparting a reddish hue to the third eye. But why is now the third eye jealous? It's saying, Amuncantau drishtva tava nava rasa aswada taralau karna yugalam. See, the other two eyes of hers, the other two eyes of hers, they are like Brahmara Kalabha. Kalabha means a younger version, a cub, you could say. So Brahmara is bee, a Kalabha is a young bee. Because they are young bees, very young, energetic bees, they are looking here and there. So they are, she's looking towards the left at one point and then towards the right at another point, and so on. So how is that appearing? He's saying it appears like as though these two honeybees are moving from one pushpa to another pushpa, which are basically her ears. Her ears also have pushpa on them. And secondly, her ears themselves are like pushpa. They're large petals, open petals. And they are emanating rasa. They are emanating navarasa. The ears are emanating navarasa. Why? Because kavinam sandarbhas tabaka makaranda ekarasikam. She keeps hearing all the kavis, the Brahma and the other devatas themselves becoming kavis, who are very often describing and doing her gunagana using all the different navarasas. And so all that nectar has fallen into and nurtured the flower of her ears, because of which these two bees are attracted to that nectar and they are sometimes sucking from this flower and sometimes in that flower. And because these two honeybees get to suck all the nectar out, the third eye got jealous because it is fixated in one position. It is equidistant from both. It is far off from both ears. It can't move. So it has become a little jealous, and hence the reddish tinge on its eye. There must have been a question. Is there a question? Okay, namaste. So all in all, what Devi is doing is just looking to her left and looking to her right. Whenever the Devatas, the Munis, the Pitrus, and all the other Devatas, all the hordes and hordes of gods are praising her, she is she's acknowledging their praise by looking to the left and to the right. Now, Adi Shankaracharya is saying this is because these are the two honeybees which are moving left to right, sometimes sucking from this left ear, which is a flower in itself, and then from the right ear. Looking at which the third eye got really jealous, and hence, because of Asuya, it turned red. Do you follow the entire imagery? Okay. कवीनां सन्दर्भस्तबकमकरन्दैकरसिकम् कटाक्षौ व्याक्षेपभ्रमरकलभौ कर्णयुगलम् अमुञ्चन्तौ दृष्ट्वा तव नवरसास्वादतरलौ असूया संसर्गादलिकनयनं किञ्चिदरुणम्. And the next verse is one of my favorite. शिवे शृङ्गारार्द्रा तदितरजने कुत्सनपरा सरोषा गङ्गायां गिरिशचरिते विस्मयवती हराहिभ्यो भीता सरसिरुह सौभाग्यजननी सखीषु स्मेराते मयि जननि दृष्टिः सकरुणा. शिवे, now Janani tava drishtihi, your eyes are showing different emotions at different points. So with Shiva, she is Shringara Ardra. Her drishti is wetted by her romance and love and craving for Shiva Tattva. Tad itara jane kutsana para. And if Shiva is not around, if some other man is there or any other devata or any other male figure is there, she doesn't care much. She is indifferent. Kutsana para. Her eyes are indifferent to that person. It's as though her eyes are belittling the handsomeness of the other men and the male gods there. Kutsana para. She doesn't even care, bother about it. Sarosha Gangayam. But when it comes to her Saudi, what is that? Her co-wife, could call that. So Ganga is also to be the wife of Shiva. So when she looks at the Ganga flowing from Shiva's mats, her eyes turn red with Rosha. She frowns at Ganga. And Girisha Charite Vismayavati. But when she hears Shiva's praises, she'll not be happy if she hears her own praise. She is happy if she's hearing Shiva's praises, because see, if what does a lover want? A lover enjoys it more if the beloved is described, not when the lover itself is described, right? So Girisha Charite Vismayavati, she is looking with intent, focused eyes of awe and wonder and perplex and bewilderment. Harahibhyo bhita, but at certain points when there are the ahi, when there are the sarpas of Shiva around, sometimes when he is dhyana bhagna, of course they don't know anything. They can't do anything to Devi or to Shiva, but she somehow acts frightened, bhita of the ahi. And Sarasi Ruha Saubhagya Janani, she who is the mother of Saubhagya, of auspiciousness, which has won and conquered over the beauty of Sarasi Ruha, of even lotuses itself. That is, here the symbolism is, sorry, it's Sarasi Ruha is an allusion to Kamala, which is Devi Lakshmi herself. She has won over, or in fact, she is the mother of the beauty that Lakshmi has inherited. So she is Sarasi Ruha Saubhagya Janani. And then Sakhi Ishu Smerate, and along with your co-attendants and dasis and your sakhis or your friends, you will show a drishti of smera, of smiling, um, of friendship. And therefore, what should your drishti be upon me? Mayi sakaruna drishtihi janani bhavatu. May your drishti towards me be of that with compassion, of that with empathy and understanding of your child, of Vatsalya. So, this is the outward meaning of this, the literal meaning of the shloka. Why I like it particularly is because it is describing the many bhavas the lover goes through, and he or she must go through in his or her pursuit of a certain goal. So let's call the goal Shiva, and for now we will call the seeker, the one who wants to achieve this goal, as Shakti. Okay. So what is the goal, that what is the bhava that she should have towards the goal? It should be that of craving, of lust, of ambition, of desire, of intent desire towards the goal. Shringara Ardra, then Tad Itara Jane, and towards any other goal, towards any other secondary or tertiary goal, it should be neglect. So there should be craving towards that one goal, that one purpose of our life that we have chosen or has been thrust upon us, lovingly at least. And there must be neglect and indifference towards any other and every other goal apart from that one, because love ultimately can be directed only towards one thing. It cannot be branched out into many different things. It loses its purpose, its meaning entirely if it is done so. So love is most intense and most powerful and divine. However, externally it may appear to be ugly and vulgar, because it is directed, it is fiddle itself. In what sense is it fiddle? Not just in the ugly vulgar sense that you're not copulating with another person, but here fidelity is where the entire attention of the mind is directed 24/7 only towards one thing. So that is true fidelity which Shakti is showing towards Shiva. And towards everybody else, she has Kutsana, neglect, and Sarosha Gangayam, and which is quite often and natural. What happens is when another person, let's call her Ganga, is also seeking the same truth, is also seeking the same object goal, there is competition, right? And so that is Sarosha, and it is natural that this Shakti will have, and it is good to have that frowning competition, competitive spirit in him or her in the pursuit. Sarosha Gangayam and Girisha Charite Vismayavati. And there must be an element of wonder, of awe, of humility at the goal, by looking at the goal, by hearing about the goal. Meaning what? In every other expression of the goal, when people try to talk us out of it, we should neglect them. And when people try to flame our passion, fuel our passion by describing the importance of this goal, we should be wonderstruck. We should not be arrogant that, yeah, I am on this path to achieving the goal, but we must be wonderstruck and awe and grateful for it. Vismayavati. And then harahibhyo bhita, and from the very same goal, it is bound to happen that there will be some drawbacks, there will be some loopholes, there will be some pitfalls on this journey, which are the serpents that Shiva has. So these are the traps, like in the game of snake and ladders, there are some trap snakes, right? So you should be very careful of them, you should be frightened of them, and it is the good fear, we should have it. So there are two kinds of fears, Ashubha Bhaya and Shubha Bhaya, as Chandi Patha calls it. Devi Mahatmya calls for Devi to remove all the Ashubha Bhayam, not all fears. There should be some fear, and it is natural also. We should be careful of all these pitfalls and wade our way through carefully. Sarasi Ruha Saubhagya Janani. And who is this Shakti? This Shakti must be, first of all, qualified to have produced results earlier. So you're joining a new company, right? So they asked for your work samples. You should have done something before, correct? So I should have created, the seeker must have already created some auspiciousness in his life, his or her life. Must have done something good in his or her own life, right? This is apart from the goal itself. So Sarasi Ruha Saubhagya Janani, doing good to others basically. And then with people who are supporting me, the seeker, they are the sakhis, they are the friends. So what should I have towards them? I should not compete with them also now. I should have a mild smile towards all of them and accept them lovingly and caringly. Smera. Not too attached because my attachment is now only towards one goal, but towards the other people who are supporting me and helping me on this journey. I should have grateful. I should be grateful and have a peaceful smile of reassurance towards them. So this is why I find this particular verse really charming. I'm opening the floor for any questions or any inputs. Okay. Shivesh.
Yeah. No questions. Thank you.
धन्यवाद. Good to have you back, Arye.
Well,
Samishinam.
I'm back in UK now.
Okay.
I just arrived just this morning
Oh, sadhu sadhu.
back in UK.
शिवे शृङ्गारार्द्रा तदितरजने कुत्सनपरा सरोषा गङ्गायां गिरिशचरिते विस्मयवती हराहिभ्यो भीता सरसिरुह सौभाग्यजननी सखीषु स्मेराते मयि जननी दृष्टिः सकरुणा. So this was about her drishti. We can just discuss two more and we will stop for today. गते कर्णाभ्यर्णं गरुत इव पक्ष्माणि दधति पुराम्भेतुश्चित्तप्रशमरसविद्रावणफले इमे नेत्रे गोत्राधरपतिकुलोत्तं सकलिके तवाकर्णाकृष्टस्मरशरविलासं कलयतः. गते गरुत इव पक्ष्माणि दधति इमे नेत्रे स्मरशरविलासं कलयतः. So ime nete, the two eyes of yours are doing something. Kalayatah, they are doing something. What are they doing? Tava akarna akrishta smara shara vilasam. They are enacting, they're playing the role of being banas, of being the shara, the arrows of Manmatha, as though they were stretched out from the ear. So there are the 2 ears. So your iris is at one point to the left. So it's as though it has been stretched now, pulled back by the bow. And then you suddenly look to your right. Okay. So it's as though this eyeball has traveled this certain distance. Both eyeballs have traveled a certain distance to the right. as if they have been released by the like an arrow from the bow. And whose bow? It is Smaras, that is Manmatha's bow. Why is this comparison being made? Is because when Devi, let's say she is distracted with some other household chores, or maybe she is giving jnana to her sakhis and she is doing some tapasya herself. But as soon as Shiva arrives, she immediately lets all her things at a standstill and she immediately looks at him. So that sudden movement of her eyes is comparable to the arrow being released from her, from Manmatha's bow, because as soon as she looks at Puram Bhetu, that is at Shiva, it's as though Shiva forgets all his tapasya and now is ready to mingle with Devi. Right? He also gets completely seduced with a mere flash of her eyes from the left to the right. That's all. That's all it takes. And Shiva has lost it. And he forgets all his prashama. He forgets all his tapasya, all that control over his indriyas he forgets, and he starts chasing the Devi. So, this is what is happening. But now the poet is adding another twist to it to say, oh, this is actually the eyes are not of Devi. The eyes are actually arrows of Manmatha because Manmatha is taking revenge. He is avenging for his own death by attacking Shiva. If you remember the story, Manmatha was killed. He was extinguished by the power of Shiva's third eye. And so now he is always nursing this grudge against Shiva and always wants to take an opportunity, every opportunity to get back at him and to hurt him. So it's as though he himself designed Devi's eyes so that every time it is released from his bow, Rudra is heard again and again and repeatedly, and his tapasyas bhanga is happening repeatedly too. And to add to this imagery, it's that your eyelashes, you have eyes which have these eyelashes, right? And if you look at an arrow's end part, they also have these feathers, right? So the Garudaha iva pakshmani dadhati. All your eyelashes are looking like these garuds, these feathers, which are tied to the end of an arrow. And they are released from the bow, which is Abhyarna, the bow of your Karana itself. And because she is also wearing these earrings, so her ears look very alike bows themselves too. Puram Bhetuhu. Puram Bhetu is Shiva. Bhetra is the the Pratipadika. Puram Bhetuhu Chitta Prashama. The serenity, the tranquility that he has accomplished by a lot of tapasya in his mind. Rasa Vidravana Phale. And the what is the consequence of this? All the rasa, all the tapasya rasa, the Shanta rasa has gone down the drain. He is now back to square one, ready to get to first base with Parvati. Ime netre gotra dharapati kulottam sakalike. And this entire word is an adjective to Devi. Gotra dharapati kulottam sakalike. She who is Uttamsa, who is born in the best of clans, which is that of the Dharapati of mountains itself. So her Gotra and her clan are both from very prestigious lineages, that is of the mountain itself. And she who is such a bride is destroying Shiva's tapasya with a mere glance of her eyes, as though giving an opportunity for Manmatha to have his revenge. Gate karnabhyarnam garuta iva pakshmani dadhati पुराम्भेत्तुश्चित्तप्रशमरसविद्रावणफले इमे नेत्रे गोत्राधरपतिकुलोत्तं सकलिके तवाकर्णाकृष्टस्मरशरविलासं कलयतः. They are bringing happiness and joy to Smara. They are creating vilasa. They are making Manmatha very happy by this act. विभक्तत्रैवर्ण्यं व्यतिकरितलीलाञ्जनतया विभाति त्वन्नेत्रत्रितयमिदमीशानदयिते पुनः स्रष्टुं देवान् द्रुहिणहरिरुद्रान् उपरतान् रजः सत्त्वं बिभ्रत्तम इति गुणानां Trayamiva. Now, once again, it's describing the three eyes of hers. Vibhakta Traivarnyam. She has three colored eyes. One is the red, which is sorry, golden, which is the Surya, and then there is the blue, which is Chandra, and then there is the red, which is the Agni or third eye. So these are the Traivarnya, three colors. Vibhakta Traivarnyam Vyatikarita Leela Anjanataya. And then, as do Indian women usually wear the kajal, they wear the kappu on their the boundary of their eyes. So this kajal, Vyatikarita, she has applied surrounding the periphery, Leela. Out of why is she applying it? Because it is her sport. She wants to appear cosmetically nice. So Leela Anjanataya Tvat Netra Tritayam, the three eyes, the triad eyes, Ishana Daite, O wife of, O spouse of Ishana, it appears, what does it appear? As though you have drawn a peripheral black, like, when you start drawing a painting, you first put the boundary of a sketch, right? You use black color to do that. And then you paint it inside with different colors. So it is as though you have drawn yourself three eyes with this kajal, and then you have painted them with three different colors. Punah srashtum devan druhina hari rudran uparatan rajas sattvam bibhrat tama iti gunanam trayamiva. And what is the paint that you used to color your eyes? It is the paint of rajas, tamas, and sattva. So sattva is the guna which has been incorporated into the third eye. Here goes sattva, as was explained earlier. Then here goes tamas, and here goes rajas. So these three colors, which are the Prakriti's gunas themselves, have emerged out of your eyes as though it is the painting which has slightly dripped off from the actual positions. So those very small drippings of color from your three eyes became Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. And what use are these three colors? Punaha Srashtum Devan Druhina Hari Rudran Uparatan. When they have undergone Pralaya, Druhina, that is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, Rudra, they undergo collapse during Pralaya. Uparata means once they are dead. So you have to now create it back, right? Because you are yourself too lazy to do anything in this cosmos. You just give orders with your eyes. So to create them, you use the drippings from your eyes, which are the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, to create Druhina, Hari, and Rudra, which are respectively Brahma, Rudra, and Vishnu. Druhina, Hari, Rudra. Why this particular sequence is because Brahma is in charge of the Surya Nadi, which is Hiranyagarbha to create, which is activity. Whereas Rudra is in charge of destruction, of sleep, of escapism, which is tamas, of inactivity. And Vishnu is in charge of moderation, which is basically the idea behind sattva, of maintenance, of sustenance. So, Rajas Sattvam Bibhrat Tama iti Gunanam Trayam Iva. See the very beautiful sequence. Druhina goes with Rajas, Hari goes with Sattva, and Rudra goes with Tamas. Of course, these are not defining the characters of the Devatas. It's a guna merely to describe the nature of their action. They are not the swabhavas of the Devatas because, of course, these three they're Devatas. Of course, they are also beyond Sattva itself. But the activity they're involved in, the role they're assigned to, are derived out of these respective gunas. Most people use this to kind of attack against Shiva to say, see, Rudra is Tamasa, and so his Puranas are Tamasic Puranas. So all those stories are not true, which is not correct because many Puranas also say that the Vaishnava Puranas, which are, Vishnu Purana, Matsya Purana, etc., are all tamasic too in a different context. So we can't really use that argument um, to attack another sect. But this is merely again describing the nature of the role, the activity. What is the karma? What is the guna karma? You say, right? Guna karma vibhagashaha. Every act is based on a certain guna of either activity, inactivity, or of moderation. These are what Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas respectively represent. Any questions or inputs or remarks? Would you like to disagree?
No questions, no remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dhanyawad. Astu, then we can stop here for today. विभक्तत्रैवर्ण्यं व्यतिकरितलीलाञ्जनतया विभाति त्वन्नेत्रत्रितयमिदमीशानदयिते पुनः स्रष्टुं देवान् द्रुहिणहरिरुद्रानुपरतान् रजः सत्त्वं बिभ्रत्तम इति गुणानां त्रयमिव अस्तु अनेके धन्यवादाः नमस्कारः
धन्यवाद.